Pick up a Snickers. 21 grams of sugar. Now pick up one of the most popular protein bars in America. Also 21 grams of sugar. Same coating, same texture, same sweetness. The only difference is one has the word protein on the wrapper. I bought 9 of the top-selling bars in the country and read every ingredient list side by side on my kitchen counter. What I found isn't a health food aisle, it's a candy aisle with better marketing. Nature Valley has been selling granola for decades. That green box, the mountain imagery. When they launched a protein line, most people assumed it was granola with extra nuts. It's not even close. Nature Valley protein chewy bars are coated in a chocolate-flavored layer that's mostly sugar and palm kernel oil. Flip the wrapper over and you'll find soy protein isolate providing the protein claim. Soy protein isolate is the cheapest form of concentrated protein available to manufacturers. It's extracted from defatted soybean flakes using chemical solvents then dried into powder. The process strips out fiber fat and most micronutrients. What's left is a protein number for the nutrition panel. 12 grams of sugar sit underneath nearly half the sugar in a Snickers, wrapped in a package that still looks like trail mix. Look at the coating. If a protein bar has a chocolate or a yogurt shell, check whether the coating ingredients are listed separately from the bar itself. That coating is almost always sugar palm, kernel oil, and cocoa powder. It's candy shell. On a granola bar, wearing hiking boots. Nature Valley is affordable and available at every gas station in America. At $1.50 per bar, you're getting a snack. Just not the health food the mountain on the wrapper promises. And at least the sugar is visible on the label. The next one hides it behind an athlete. Clif Builders is the bar you grab before the gym. 20 grams of protein, built for performance. The wrapper shows a silhouette climbing a rock face. Everything about it says fuel. Gary Erickson founded Clif Bar in 1990 after a bad experience with energy bars on a bike ride. The original Clif Bar was meant to be actual food for endurance athletes. Builders came later targeting the protein market. The problem is 21 grams of sugar per bar. That is the exact sugar content of a Snickers. I put them side by side, same number. The protein comes from soy protein isolate and soy protein concentrate, both cheap, both processed. The sugar comes from organic brown rice syrup, which sounds wholesome but has a glycemic index of 98. For comparison, pure table sugar scores 65. Brown rice syrup spikes your blood sugar faster than the sugar it's replacing. Ignore the protein number on the front. Flip the bar over and find the sugar line. Then find a Snickers nutrition label online. If the sugar is within 3 grams, you're eating a candy bar that happens to contain protein powder. That's the math. It doesn't lie. Clif Builders delivers real protein at a reasonable price point. At $2 per bar, it works as post-workout fuel if you understand what you're getting. But the climbing silhouette is doing more work than the ingredients. And if 21 grams of sugar feels like a lot, the next one pioneered the category and fell even harder. PowerBar invented the energy bar category in 1986. Brian Maxwell, a marathon runner, created it in his kitchen to solve a real problem. Runners needed portable fuel that wouldn't cause stomach cramps. For a decade, PowerBar was the only bar in the game. Then Post Holdings acquired the brand and the recipe changed. Modern PowerBar Protein Plus lists maltodextrin as a primary ingredient. Maltodextrin is a processed starch, usually from corn, with a glycemic index between 95 and 136. That is higher than pure glucose. Your body converts it to blood sugar faster than it converts actual table sugar. Why use it? Because maltodextrin is classified as a complex carbohydrate, not a sugar. It doesn't appear on the sugar line of the nutrition label. A bar can contain significant maltodextrin and still claim moderate sugar. The number on the label is technically accurate. The metabolic reality is completely different. The Tell search the ingredient list for maltodextrin maltose or rice syrup solids. These are sugars that don't appear on the sugar line. If they're in the first 5 ingredients, the bar has a higher glycemic load than the label suggests. Blood sugar doesn't care what the FDA calls it. At $2.50 per bar, PowerBar still delivers protein. The brand just traveled a long way from a runner's kitchen to a corporate supply chain. And if hidden sugars feel like a stretch, the next one replaced sugar with something your stomach likes even less. Pure protein. The name is the promise. Pure. Protein. Nothing else. Clean. Simple. 20 grams of protein. 2 grams of sugar. The front of the wrapper is doing everything right. The ingredient list tells you why. 2 grams of sugar is achieved by replacing sugar with maltitol. Maltitol is a sugar alcohol. It tastes sweet, but the body only partially absorbs it. The unabsorbed portion ferments in the large intestine, producing gas bloating and in higher doses a laxative effect. How much maltitol is in a pure protein bar? The label doesn't say. Sugar alcohols aren't required to list specific amounts. But maltitol has a glycemic index of 36, compared to 0 for erythritol, another sugar alcohol. Your blood sugar still responds, just less visibly. The 2 grams of sugar claim is accurate by FDA standards. It is not accurate by your pancreas's standards. The Tell look for sugar alcohols on the nutrition label. If the bar lists 10 plus grams and doesn't specify which sugar alcohol, assume maltitol. It's the cheapest option. Erythritol and allulose cost more and have near zero glycemic impact. The cheap sugar alcohol is the one most likely to cause digestive trouble. At $1.70 per bar, pure protein is one of the most affordable high-protein options. The protein is real. The 2 grams of sugar is real by one definition and misleading by another. And if the math on sugar feels like accounting tricks, the next brand turned those tricks into an art form. On 1 gram of sugar. That's the brand. That's the promise. 1 single gram. The flavors tell you everything else you need to know. Birthday cake, peanut butter cup, maple glazed donut, blueberry cobbler. These are candy flavors. They're supposed to be. 1 bar is a product designed from the ground up to taste like a candy bar, while printing 1 gram of sugar on the front. The mechanism is the same as pure protein, but more aggressive. Maltitol and isomalto oligosaccharides replace sugar. Polydextrose adds bulk. Palm kernel oil recreates the mouthfeel of chocolate coating. The ingredient list runs to 15 items each, solving a specific engineering problem. How do you make something taste like birthday cake without sugar appearing on the label? You don't remove sweetness, you reclassify it. I lined up a 1 bar birthday cake next to an actual candy bar. The coating cracks the same way. The interior has the same dense chew. The sweetness hits the same spot on my tongue. Close your eyes and you cannot tell the difference. That's not an accident. That's the product. The Tell count the ingredients. A Snickers has 11, a 1 bar has 15. More engineering, not less. If a protein bar has candy bar flavors and candy bar texture but claims 1 gram of sugar, the sweetness didn't disappear. It was reclassified into sugar alcohols and fiber syrups that don't appear on the sugar line. The bar is still candy. The accounting changed. At $2.50 per bar, 1 delivers 20 grams of protein and a genuinely impressive candy experience. If that's the goal, it's honest about its purpose. Just don't confuse it with health food. The word protein on the label isn't a nutrition strategy, it's a permission slip. Here's what connects all 5. Not one of them is trying to make a healthier bar. They're trying to make a candy bar that survives a nutrition label audit. Protein isolate inflates the protein line. Sugar alcohols erase the sugar line. Maltodextrin hides in the carbohydrate section. Every reformulation solves an accounting problem, not a food problem. These are permission slips, not protein bars. You buy them because the numbers on the front make you feel responsible. The ingredients on the back tell a different story. But some brands refuse the trade entirely, and one of them solved the problem so simply that the entire ingredient list fits on the front of the wrapper. Can a protein bar taste like a real food and still deliver 14 grams of protein? Aloha says yes, and the ingredient list is short enough to prove it. Aloha launched in 2014 as a certified organic plant-based protein bar. The protein comes from brown rice protein and pumpkin seed protein, both whole food sources that retain fiber and micronutrients stripped from isolates. No soy protein isolate, no maltitol, no polydextrose. The sweetness comes from organic coconut sugar and organic stevia. 5 grams of sugar per bar, all from recognizable sources. The texture is softer than candy-engineered bars, slightly crumbly, less coating. It tastes like food because it is food. That's a genuine trade-off. If you're expecting one bar's birthday cake experience, Aloha will disappoint you. It's not trying to be candy. It's trying to be a bar made of plants that happens to contain protein. At $2.75 per bar, Aloha sits at the same shelf price as brands using cheaper ingredients and more engineering. The premium buys you simplicity, but if plant-based feels limiting, the next one broke the mold entirely. What if a protein bar didn't have to be sweet at all? What if protein came from the source humans have been eating for 200,000 years? Epic asked that question. The answer looks nothing like a protein bar. Taylor Collins and Katie Forrest launched Epic Provisions in 2013 in Austin, Texas. Both were endurance athletes who'd burned out on plant-based diets and couldn't find portable whole food protein. Their solution? Bison, venison, beef, chicken. Dried, seasoned, pressed into bars. The first bite is unexpected. The ingredient list for Epic Bison Bacon Cranberry reads: bison uncured, bacon dried cranberries, celery powder, sea salt, black pepper. Every single one of those ingredients is something recognizable that's rare in this category. 11 grams of protein from actual meat. No protein isolate needed because the bar is protein. No sugar engineering because there's no sweetness to manufacture. No gum system because dried meat holds its own structure. The concept is so simple it feels radical. The texture is chewy, savory, and frankly jarring if you've only ever known sweet bars. Some people can't get past it. That's the honest limitation. Epic isn't for everyone, it's for people willing to question whether protein bars need to taste like dessert. At $3 per bar, you're paying for grass-fed sourcing and a supply chain that prioritizes animal welfare. But if simplicity is the goal, the next one took it to the absolute minimum. 2 ingredients. That's it. Cashew cookie, the most popular flavor. Cashews. Dates. The ingredient list is the name. L'American founded LÄRABAR in 2003 in Denver, with a conviction that got her laughed out of meetings. A snack bar with no protein. Isolate, no added sweetener, no preservatives, no coating, no flavoring. Just fruit and nuts pressed together. Most investors told her it would never sell. I think about that a lot when I see LÄRABAR in every grocery store in America. General Mills bought the brand in 2008 for an undisclosed amount. The recipe hasn't changed. LÄRABAR has only 3 to 4 grams of protein per bar. That's a real limitation for anyone specifically counting protein. But here's what matters. The 13 grams of sugar come from whole dates. Dates contain fiber, potassium, magnesium, and a cellular matrix that slows sugar absorption. The body processes date sugar differently than it processes the maltitol in a 1-bar or the brown rice syrup in a Clif Builders. Same sugar number on the label, completely different metabolic event. The Tell 2 bars can show identical sugar grams and have completely different glycemic impacts. Whole food sugar wrapped in fiber absorbs slowly. Processed sugar stripped of fiber absorbs fast. The number on the label doesn't tell you the speed. The ingredient list does. At $1.50 per bar, LÄRABAR costs the same as Nature Valley. Same price. 2 ingredients versus 30. And that brings us to the last one. Remember number 5 1-bar, 1 gram of sugar. 15 ingredients, a candy bar wearing a protein bar's uniform. RXBar has 12 grams of sugar, 6 ingredients. And every one of them is printed on the front of the wrapper, not the back, not in small print. Right where the marketing usually goes. Peter Rahal and Jared Smith launched RXBar from a basement in Chicago in 2013. The original packaging was plain white with a simple list: 3 egg whites, 6 almonds, 4 cashews, 2 dates. No BS. That wasn't just a tagline, it was the entire brand philosophy. While 1-bar was engineering candy bar textures with 15 ingredients, RXBar was asking a different question. What if you told people exactly what was in the bar and let them decide 12 grams of protein? All from egg whites. The egg white is heated, not chemically extracted, like soy protein isolate. Dates provide sweetness and binding. Nuts provide fat and crunch. Cocoa adds flavor in the chocolate variety. Natural flavors is the 6th ingredient, the only one you can't picture. The texture is dense and slightly sticky. Chewy in a way that feels like dried fruit and nuts, because that's what it is. No coating, no crunch layer, no candy shell. If you're expecting birthday cake flavor, RXBar will feel plain. That plainness is the point. You're tasting food, not formulation. Kellogg's acquired RXBar in 2017 for $600 million. I checked whether the recipe changed after acquisition. It hasn't. The front of package ingredient list hasn't changed either. When a brand's entire value proposition is transparency, changing the formula destroys the asset that justified the price tag. That's $600 million for 6 ingredients and a philosophy. I respect that math. At $2.50 per bar, RXBar costs the same as 1-bar. Same price, same shelf, same protein range. One prints the food on the front, the other prints a fantasy flavor name and hides 15 ingredients on the back. That's the entire video in 2 wrappers. If a protein bar has candy bar flavors and candy bar texture, check whether it replaced the sugar or just reclassified it. Maltitol, maltodextrin, and rice syrup solids are sugar by another name. Your blood doesn't read labels. If the ingredient list runs past 8 items, someone is engineering what whole food does naturally. Egg whites provide protein. Dates provide sweetness. Nuts provide fat. You don't need 15 ingredients to do the work of 3. If you can picture every ingredient growing somewhere or coming from something alive, it's food. If you can't, it's formulation. The difference between the bottom of this list and the top isn't protein content. It's whether the bar was designed to feed you or to pass an audit. What's in your gym bag right now? Flip it over, count the ingredients, and drop that number in the comments. I want to see what this audience is actually fueling on. If this changed how you read a protein bar, label subscribe. Different product every week, same depth, same honesty. If you can read the front and know what's inside, somebody's telling you the truth.